أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فمن حاجك فيه من بعد ما جاءك من العلم فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. Anyone who argues with you now after clear knowledge was revealed to you, say to them, come, let us call our and your sons, and our and your women, and ourselves and yourselves, and let us make an earnest prayer and invoke the curse of Allah on whoever is the liar. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. My dear good friends on YouTube, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you, and just you can decide what to do with it. There are many people who criticize and who oppose those who question the way that they have been doing things. And one of the favorite arguments that these people present is that what are your people's qualifications and credentials for questioning things that have been in existence for hundreds and hundreds of years? The great scholars, the great Salafus Salih, all the Tabi'een, the followers, the Sahaba, all of these great supermen. What gives you the audacity to question what all these people have asserted? And that is one of the favorite lines of criticism. Now, you can make this a long story, or we can make this a short story. The short story is, I want to offer you this verse. Those of you who still feel like that, I want to offer you this verse. If you've looked at all the material that I've presented to you and you've questioned it, and you think it makes no sense and you think it's nonsense, then you always have this option, my brother. The Quran offers it to you as a gift. The gift to you is, let us call our and our sons, and our and your sons, our and your women, and let us call ourselves and yourselves, and earnestly in prayer invoke the curse of Allah on whoever is the liar. Now, my good friends, you need to be a very brave person, and you need to be very sure of your Maulanas and of your Molvis and your Muftis before you invoke this curse on yourself. I hope you are very careful, because I wouldn't do it lightly. I wouldn't call this curse on myself lightly. I will only do so after having done the due diligence. And my friends, I reject that view that you must copy and imitate those who lived before you, because the Quran warns me against doing that. The Quran actually warns me against taking the culture and the practices of my forefathers and doing it. And I heed that warning. But there's another reason why I question the way that we've been doing things, and that is, there's a hadith that says, where people ascribe these words to the Prophet, and it goes something to the effect that khairul qarni, the best of generations, the best of eras is my era, and that is the Prophet, ascribed to the Prophet. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلَوْا, and then those who will follow my era. And the so-called, this hadith goes on and says, and then the era or the generation that follows that generation. So in effect, the hadith is saying the best generation is my generation, that is the Prophet speaking about his generation, then the generation that will follow. So in other words, the Sahaba is regarded as the first generation, and then those who follow are regarded as the Tabi'in. And then the generation that follows the Tabi'in are called the Tabi'in, the followers of the successive generation. So it's the Sahaba, then the successors to the Sahaba, then the successors to the successors. And this hadith is so damning on the people who live today, because what it actually says is that the worst of generation is the present generation. The worst of generation is the present generation. And so if you agree with me that the present generation is the worst in terms of being guided, in terms of understanding their book, their Quran, in terms of practice, in terms of taqwa, if this is the worst generation, then why are you questioning me when I question this generation's beliefs? Why are you questioning me when I am trying to work on this generation's understanding? If you attack me, who is laboring and toiling to improve this generation, you are attacking the wrong person. Who you should be attacking, if you want to do something brave and noble, is you must attack those who are at the helm of affairs of the Muslims, those who are in control of the thinking of the Muslims, those who are preaching from the pulpits on a Friday. You should really be attacking them, because they are the ones that are in charge of the worst generation. But I don't want to have a negative video here. I want to make this a very, very positive message. And what I want to do is actually to contextualize more, offer you more explanation as to where I come from, why I do this critique of the existing understanding of the Quran and of the Hadith, etc. And I've mentioned it too many times that I am not a Quran-only person. I am a Quran plus rational thinking person. The rational thinking, reasoning, observing, studying with the eyes and with all the senses precedes the understanding of the Quran. We have to have sound intellect. We have to make our observations, and then the Quran comes as a confirmation of what is real and what is true and what is eternal. So, more contextualization. I look around me and I see a Muslim community, right? And I have my own family and I have my own children and I have many cousins and nieces and nephews, and they range in age from 1 to 50, more than 50. These are all the members of my extended family, and we are very, very blessed family. All 1,000 of us, we are many. There are many of us. God has blessed us. And we have a lot of love in our family. And we have a lot of arguments, but we always manage to overcome the arguments. But the trend that is worrying me is that if we maintain the existing idea or understanding of the Quran, of Islam, the whole epistemology, right, then we will lose our dear family members to modernity, to the modern society. The ideas that are being promulgated at university, postmodern ideas, whatever other great philosophies and ideas are being promoted there, they are running riot across the Muslims' traditional beliefs. Muslim traditional beliefs are unable to stand up to the power of these modern ideas, my friends. And if you want to question me, I want you to take, if you've not studied at university, then I invite you to go to a university, to go to a workplace, and to see whether Muslims are able to spread the word of their understanding. Nobody wants to take it seriously. And you can't lie and say that people are becoming Muslims left, right, and center. How many people at your workplace have become Muslim recently that you can say? How many people at your child's school became Muslim? How many students at the university in that Jama'ah Salah place that the Muslim students are making Salah? How many non-Muslims are joining the ranks there? Be honest with yourself. Islam, the traditional Islam that you are clinging to, is not really appealing to anyone except Muslims. And the reason it's appealing to Muslims, that's another topic. The reason it's appealing to Muslims, there are other psychological factors. And it's not appealing because of a rational appeal. It's more appealing because of an identity, an identification with a tradition, with an ethnic. It's got more to do with an ethnic identity than it's got to do with an ideological and spiritual identity. Muslims are becoming an ethnic identity in non-Muslim countries. And that is not the point of Islam. Islam is not an ethnicity. And what it has become is an ethnic identity. The way you dress, the way you party, the way you sing, the way you socialize, it's all an ethnicity now. And Islam is not an ethnicity, my friends. We are not an ethnicity. So my position, why I am questioning the tradition, is because the tradition has no further appeal to anyone, except to some people who are, I would almost argue that Islam has about as much appeal to strangers as the flat earthers have to strangers. In other words, minimal to some people, but in no way enough to actually show any real growth. And so my point is that I am honest and I am open to the challenge facing me, my family, my children, and I have gone back to the drawing board. I've gone back to the books. Remember, I always tell you that I am not ignorant or uninformed of the great books of Islam. I have seen these books. I have studied many of these books. I have debated. I have interacted with some of the greatest scholars, and I've mentioned it in the past. The greatest mufti of this country, the person that is the highest ranked person. I have spent many, many months in that person's company, and I'm not uninformed about traditional Islam. But what I can tell you is that my insight can save you a lot of time. I have gone to the bottom of what is traditional Islam, and I can tell you honestly that it is not in agreement with what the Quran preaches. Not fully, partially, but not fully. There are aspects of what Muslims have adopted in their beliefs that are at loggerheads. It is in conflict with the Quran. You tell me where in the Quran does it say you must stone a woman to death for adultery? You show me that verse, and I will maybe consider what I've said. You show me in that book, in the Quran, where does it say you have to kill somebody for being an apostate or for leaving the religion of Islam? You show me in that Quran, where does it show Salah in this format, or Taraweeh, or Zakat 2.5%? You tell me, show it to me, and maybe I will get some different insights. No, but you're going to point me to hadith books. My friends, I've read these hadith books. They are in conflict with each other. Not even the two greatest muhaddithin, Muslim and Bukhari, are in agreement. Do you know what Muslim says about Bukhari's hadith? Let me tell you this. Let's say there's 5,000 hadiths in Bukhari. Do you know what Muslim says? Muslim is the student of Bukhari. And Muslim has studied the books of Bukhari. And Muslim have discarded 95% of the hadiths in Bukhari. That is the fact. So the two greatest guys that you can hold up to me is Muslim and Bukhari. Bukhari being the senior, Muslim being the junior. In other words, in the chain of narrations, Muslim should have narrated all Bukhari's hadith and then added his own. No, but he discarded 90% of Bukhari's hadith. So explain it to me. Why are there contradictions? Why is Muslim not embraced or endorsed or certified all of Bukhari's hadith? And neither did all the others. You need to give me an answer as to why does it say in Sunan Abi Dawud that a grown man can be breastfed by a woman. And some of you asked for proofs, so I'm going to give you a proof now. So let me give you the reference. Right. Sunan Abi Dawud. Right. I have the Arabic also, but I've unfortunately gotten rid of my Arabic library because I've made it available. I've donated to a library, so my books are no longer here. I've all the books in Arabic, but I've kept the English ones. So there we go. Now look at this particular page here. Chapter 676. Unlawfulness of a man of age by reason of fosterage. Right. Yeah, those of you who say, can you show us? It's page 549. This is Sunan Abi Dawud. The publishers are English Ahmad Hassan, Islamabad. Right, so the book is not, I didn't create this book, right? So let us look at this hadith.